Hi empaths, welcome back to my channel and back to Journey Through the Tarot. We're talking about our week with the Three of Swords. And we're introducing the history, symbolism, and divination of the Four of Swords. Looking forward to moving out of this week. I don't know about you. This journey is inspired by Dirty and Divine, a transformative journey through tarot by Alice B. Grist. She spent a day with each card. We're spending a week. And we're getting a lot of information from one of my tarot teachers, Robert M. Place, his book, The Tarot History, Symbolism, and Divination. And we're using the Waite-Smith symbolism from the Rider Tarot deck. Looks like this. Should you need any of those items, they're all available in my Amazon store, linked in the description of this video. So let's get started in talking about what came up during the week with the Three of Swords. Lots of rain. First thing I noticed the day after we transitioned into the Three of Swords, lots of rain. It rained pretty hard here. A couple of days, really stormy winds blowing the dead leaves everywhere. And I mean, that affects the mood, right? We had the new moon in Scorpio, which is a water element. And the water is indicated here, even though the swords are an air suit. Interesting with the air, as it was really windy, blowing everything around one day. It sounded like my roof was going to blow off. So that was interesting. And I had a harder week emotionally. That was most pronounced during work. I felt like I was getting a lot of customers who were lonely, going through it, looking for lost loves, lost family members, partners that had abandoned them, things like that. And a lot of them wanted me to stick it out on the phone with them as they did things, and it just weighed very heavy on me and lingered. And then, and I was doing pretty well navigating that, trying to keep my energy high, doing exercises in between on my little breaks and things. And then today was a really hard one. The other days, I did cry a couple of days where I had just like really draining calls, really draining customers. Some were draining just because they needed so much of my time and attention, and it just drained me to try to support people in navigating websites and things, particularly elderly people, even though I understand and I'm really empathetic and I care and I want to help. There are times where it just feels so impossible because I can't see what they're doing, that it's really frustrating. And then we do get angry customers. I did note that yesterday I had reported to my supervisor that, I'd rather get angry people. I'm used to that in New York City, and I got what I wished for. Today I did get more angry customers, and they weren't angry at me. They called angry, wanting to vent. I think customer service is probably one of the hardest jobs. Well, I mean, not the hardest job, but dealing with people when you're sensitive can be very challenging. I mean, I'm not saving lives. You know what I mean? It's not about heart surgery or protecting a nation. It's nothing like that. It's just, it weighs on you, and it's hard to let go when you're sensitive. That's the sort of the signature of the sensitive, right? Where things linger, things last, things have an impact. Particularly if you've had trauma or harshness in your life that you've overcome, and you're still healing. And that's what this card's about, right? Dealing with those pending situations. And today in particular, the day I'm filming this, I'm filming the night before I post, but I just had a lot of angry people just wanting to inject the charged energy into someone else, that someone else was me. And I tried to keep that into perspective, but it wasn't about mindset. It was about energy. I felt the energy pierce my energy field. It felt like swords coming in at the solar plexus and heart. And it was harsh, and it took me a minute to overcome it. At first, I sort of, I did what one of my healers taught me to do, is get the charged energy out by I punched my pillow. I didn't have a bat to like hit, which is normally what we would have done with core energetics. But so I just beat up my pillow, which sounds crazy, but it's to get that charge out, right? So I don't inject it into the next person. And then the call directly after that I dealt with was another kind of angry person. And I kind of just couldn't handle it. I kind of broke under it. It's also the last day of the week, so I had 5 days of this. So I'm adjusting, right? And it was hard to keep my energy high and positive for the whole week. But again, I believe in building immunity here and strength, so I'm willing to grow with it. I'm not willing to take abuse. So I'm learning to navigate this. I did cry on a call, which was really embarrassing. Someone called in, they're like, I'm a corrections officer, and they were like, really, they just wouldn't let up until I just was sort of like, I was trying to go through the protocol and everything, and eventually I just like, I couldn't control it. It just came, and I was just like, I apologize, I'm having a hard day, and I kind of cried on the phone, and then he softened. Like, I think he realized he was talking to a human. I think people forget. And I thought that I had, built strength by doing customer service in New York City. But I think the difference was much of the time it was in person, and they could see me, or they knew me. They were calling in, but they knew the registration agents right at the open center, or they knew me as the cashier at East West. So it wasn't always anonymous. And it did feel a bit personal, and while people would get angry, it was also in the spiritual community. So while that has its downfall, it has its bad points to it, it was also like people were looking to grow spiritually. If you get a mean person, it's easy to know their values, right? So you can talk them through that. And bring resolution. And that's harder here. They can't see me. They can only go by my voice. So we can't have those cues. Most people, I'm assuming, aren't sensitive to energy, so they can't sense the energy. Although I am working overtime to try to transmute this energy, or freeze it, or whatever I have to do. It's hard because people don't know how to manage charged emotions, and they just want to inject them. They get angry and triggered, and then, the person they're talking to at the other end becomes the target, which I understand and I can handle for the most part. I just felt like I was really abused today in particular. And I did stand up for myself. I said, I was very clear that I don't accept abuse, but it did rattle me. It did shake me. I did feel the tears in my aura, even though I was wearing my aqua aura crystal to help repair the aura and strengthen it. I mindfully wore that. I mindfully carried that with me. The crystals are great support for the most part. It's just today was the day it all came to a head. We had that Scorpio new moon. It all came to the head, and all of these past hurts that were sort of pending and hadn't truly been processed came up. And so, I had that moment where I cried on the phone. I tried to keep it together. My voice did break a bit, and I just apologized that I was having a hard day. And I just tried to remain professional and keep going. And it was really hard. I'm really tired. And part of my new moon intention with my mentor, and that's another thing, I haven't been able to attend the new moons live because my schedule has shifted so much, that I just kind of submit my intentions and then watch the replay. Her moon sessions are incredible. Body Attune, Shelley Poovey. Go to bodyattune.com and check out her moon sessions. They're really powerful collective healing sessions, and we set intentions in the group, sort of, put them in the cauldron, right, and see what comes up for the healing protocol. And it's always really powerful. It's always really powerful. And as an empath, I benefit from everyone's intention. Usually that's how it works out. But this Scorpio moon was pretty intense. Yeah, people had sharp tongues during that. And I was thinking about experiences with heartbreak and betrayal, and that came up as well. I guess things I had stored and hadn't really worked through, processed fully, were coming to the surface. And I was thinking about those things. They weren't really bringing up pain anymore. It was just sort of thinking about it and connecting the dots and thinking about it. The pain that was coming up more, I guess, when I was triggered through like customer interaction, was more just like having gone through cruelty as a child, and kind of being bullied and experiencing harshness, and that was triggered this week, and particularly today. And not that I couldn't, and that was my new moon intention, was to navigate more seamlessly when my boundary, about a really strong, firm boundary, is what's being called for and will resolve a conflict into resolution, or when empathy will be called for, and to sort of navigate that more seamlessly instead of always being empathetic or always having a boundary. I lean towards being empathetic, so because of the empathic thing, but knowing when will be the best to resolve relationship issue, communication issues, or whatever, de-escalate a customer situation, whatever it is. And I was sort of thinking about that as a customer service representative, as well as a healer and practitioner, really attracting sometimes people that, want to make these agreements where it's very heavy, looking for a healer. Here's my burden. Please take it from me. And that's just so heavy. And that's one of the reasons I was unable to sustain. I just, I would sort of get into this zone where I would not know how to make it clear that's not the deal here, right? Make it clear that you're your own healer. That's not what's happening here. I'm tuning into your system and seeing what is ready to release, or what's healing right now, and sort of supporting that process, and speaking it, right, illuminates it and empowers it, and maybe calling in light or forces that will support the process too. But I'm not healing for you in your stead. That's not how it works. It won't work, in fact. And so I had some interactions like that this week, where I didn't know how to explain, or maybe I didn't properly explain, that's not how it works. And I sort of just tried to talk through it and get through it, instead of maybe asserting a boundary in that situation or those situations. So getting better at that. But all opportunities to grow, and that excites me. That's a great thing. Yeah, what else was it? I definitely wanted to talk about that new moon intention, looking through like these past relationships, and sort of the process. And I was thinking that would be a really cool podcast episode, talking about that process, and sort of the soul recognition of seeing someone you've known in a past lifetime, and how that definitely doesn't mean that they're your person, you know, and how as you mature and sort of heal a lot of that, your values and what you're seeking in relationship are really different. You're not seeking that same rush or, you know, excitement per se. That is an element and a component to what you're seeking. But I mean, maybe just for me, maybe I can only speak for myself, but it becomes more this, what's sustainable, right? What will require less effort, what feels like homeostasis, what feels like just coming home and it being really natural. I don't have to fight somebody, right? I don't have to try to change somebody or mold myself into something. It's just natural. And that's what it is. That leaded me directly into, I was watching a Teal Swan video where she talked about it wouldn't really be useful for her to talk about her connection with the cosmos and things that are happening in different universes or whatever, that's not really supportive and practical for everyday life, and we can't really use it for everyday life. So she really focuses on relationships because everything is about relationship. Relationship with oneself, with a partner, with friends, with life itself, with your job, relationship to money, right? Everything is relationships. And so that's why that's her focus. And I thought that was really profound. I had recently, I think, enrolled in a course of hers. I haven't had time to look at it quite yet. But I enrolled in a course of hers and I got some meditations that went along with it. And so I was listening to some of those just to see how it would affect my day. And one day this week I did her light meditation about accessing and aligning and connecting to light. And so I had a great day that day. And then I did another one. I forget what the one I did yesterday was. Today I did one about connecting to your soulmate, and it was a really beautiful idea. And as I said, I don't want something else to come in that's really not congruent that I have to fight with and work with and try to figure out. Like, I'm just not interested in that anymore. That used to be something that I really would repeatedly draw in and be magnetized to as well. So it's just not conducive anymore. So that's growth. And I do feel pretty kind of out of it and tired right now after a long day of really trying to do a good job. I think that's why it always weighs on me, because I want to be good at what I'm doing. And I do think, I have this belief that if I'm good at it, it won't be hard. It'll be easier at least. And that wasn't the case today. There was nothing I could really do to de-escalate or resolve some issues. They just didn't have a resolution. And that was really hard. It's really hard when I just couldn't, like, I'll wait it out with the customer to try to support them in getting what they need, getting their needs met. I'll stick with them. I think that's been my downfall from the beginning, where I'll just stick with you until you feel resolved, until this is done, it feels complete. And sometimes that works in healing work. And I think that's where I get it from. Like in healing work, there's this feeling of completion. Oh, okay, it feels like the process, this session is complete. And at least for the time being, you know, that was what was priority to look at. And we'll look at it next time, see where we pick up. And it's easy to sort of get that. And then with certain interactions, it's really not. So I'm really using muscles that I'm not used to using here. And giving more of myself and my time than I probably would have if I had an option, right? So that was that. What else happened this week? I filmed my podcast. I filmed the videos for the week, and then in the morning time, and I'm filming tonight because I'm traveling tomorrow. I'm going to visit my brother in Las Vegas, and I'll be working there. I'm going to try to film there and all of that stuff. And I can't wait to meet his dog, his new dog, Rocco. I'm so excited. So I'll be traveling tomorrow evening to get there. And which is in alignment with the card that we're moving into, which is why I'm filming tonight. Last week I filmed in the morning, and then after I filmed the podcast. I filmed the crystal alchemy video, and then I filmed my podcast, Empath Entertainment. And when I was sort of reviewing the footage from the podcast, I noticed there were orbs that appeared in that video. And I posted the clips of the orbs on this channel. The video I posted right before this one. Those orbs, there was a tiny orb. I've never seen anything like that, that showed up first. And then there was a larger orb to my right, that I pointed out and I highlighted in the video so you could see it. And I slowed down the footage so you could see it. But what I didn't notice were, in the footage with the larger orb, there was like a green little spark of light near my head, which is how I might see an elemental, or what you might call a fairy, in the room. And I was thinking maybe it's because I have these big selenite spheres right to my right in the space where I was filming. And my friend was like, "No, they're always around you. I always see them around you when I'm with you." And I was like, "Oh, okay." But I know that selenite does invite that angelic energy in. It's nice to know they're there, watching me or supporting my process or whatever. So I'm guessing, I don't know. I was thinking angels, because I do connect angels to orbs. And I kept thinking, what would have caused that? I couldn't really believe that I had captured orbs. I know that's really hard to do. Most people try really hard to capture things and never see anything. So I was trying to think, what would have caused that? But I couldn't really come up with anything, except that I captured some of those light beings. But if you have a better explanation, I'm open. I'm open. Let's see. And it was, I think, and it was right before I took my second Cindy Dale class. I think it was the second one. No, my second one's this week. My second one's tomorrow. I'm really losing all, sense of time and all of that. So no, it was my first class last week after I filmed, and we worked with scalar waves, which are absolute light. And I'm familiar with the language because my mentor studied with Cindy Dale. And so I'm familiar with that language, and I'm really excited to learn some of the technique in healing, and just be a better healer and facilitator. And that it was right before we did that course that I took that class that those light beings appeared. So that was really exciting. And I guess, I do know just from being a healer that the session begins before you do the session. So I'm sure that's how it works with this course too, that it begins before you even log in, like your energy field prepares. And coincidentally, that's what the podcast episode was about, using those energy dynamics as guidance, and using your body as a divination tool. That was the episode. So check that out. Either on, I have it linked in the description, or your favorite podcast streaming platform. Yeah. So that was really cool. And I'm also noticing sort of this dichotomy between um, when I feel supported at this job and when I don't, which supervisors give me that feeling and which don't, which I feel like I'm working against. So I'm trying to ingratiate myself with the people that I'm having a little more trouble with, who are kind of triggering me and annoying me. I don't think I would consider myself like a petty person. I try to be mature and understanding as much as possible, but I am noticing I'm getting really, because I'm stressed, and there's some good stress. I'm not saying no stress is the way to go. There's some good stress that I needed. It's creating structure, right? But if I don't feel appreciated or supported for what I'm doing, and it's sort of just all criticism, I'm not going to be happy with you. It's not going to happen. I'm going to feel sort of resentful, and I'm working through it. So I'm working on kind of repairing that relationship, and just trying to have a good working relationship. It's kind of difficult when you're just typing, to people, because we're working from home. But there's another supervisor that's just my favorite. He's so pleasant to work with. He's always on top of it, making sure he's available and, supporting me, always saying, "You're doing such a great job," or "Wow, you handled that so well. I thought you were, I thought you were a veteran. I didn't realize that you were new. Like, you just sounded so good on the call and you handled that so well," or like, "You're doing really great." They listen in on the calls oftentimes. And sometimes I notice the different styles. One will notice I'm on a call a long time and be like, "How are you doing on that call?" Or are you okay with that call?" or whatever. And I take it as a criticism, because I sense that he's saying, "You're taking too long." I feel like he's just alert about time, and because he has it in the past. And I just feel like I don't want to be on these calls. Like, do you think I'm enjoying this call? Like, I don't want to be. Like, this is a job, but I'm being present to this person and supporting them until there's resolution here. I don't enjoy it. I'm not like, "Oh yeah, just chit chatting away." I don't like conversations. I don't even enjoy phone conversations that much. So I kind of take that as like, offer me a solution if this is a criticism. I don't actually think he's always criticizing. I think I just have that orientation with him because he's just mentioned time a few times. And I get that that's something I could work on. Right? I'd love, this has been a thing for me, is like, how do I get people off the phone? Or how do I have a boundary around people that are coming to me and just really feel like they're in so much pain, they just want me to take it. I get that. Like, I understand. I have empathy for that. It's just, I need better solution. I need better, maybe coaching around how to do that, which I was assured that's exactly what was going to happen. So we'll see when that happens. I don't know. But there was another, and then the other supervisor notices if I'm on a call maybe a little long, and hops on and listens and sees how he can help me resolve it. And then will type in solutions for me. And I just feel so supported by that. Like, so it's like, that's the difference, right? And I really love working with him. I'm always like so thankful. And yeah, I told him he was my favorite. So, I mean, which is helpful because I do have a feeling that at some point I will be promoted in the company. That's how it works. And so I'll understand what it takes to sort of support people through this process by kind of going through it and understanding going through the ropes myself. I'll kind of understand, and I'll know my pitfalls and what I can help other people navigate, and then where maybe I can support them in finding a better way that will start off the call on a good foot already. And what I noticed this week was, in building rapport with people, if you're trying to maintain positivity, friendliness, kindness. If people have an orientation of mistrust, they're going to take that as manipulation, right? And it is kind of a manipulation of meet me where I'm at. I'm in a good mood. In a good place. I want to help you. You're kind of trying to give that vibe. And I might even say, I'm here to help you. You know, like I hear your anger directed at me, but I'm here to help you. Is that what you want? Or so, but the one person that called today that was, I mean, very, very angry, and it was her own error. Like it wasn't even a fact that she was angry about. And she told me to shut up, bitch. Like that's what she said to me. And she said, I told you not to talk. I want to talk to a supervisor. And I was just sort of like, I'm finding a supervisor to talk to you, okay? And then she just kept saying bad things about the company. And I was like, I disagree with that. And she's like, I told you not to talk. And I was like, I'm not here to take abuse from people. So finally, he made himself available. He took his grand time, I noticed. It was the same one who was like on me about time. He took his grand time. So it was just one of those, where it was painful. It was about the pain in connection this week. The times where it's really heavy, the times where it stings, it's harsh. And even though I can understand why they're angry, why they might need to, discharge that energy, being the target never feels good. It still hurts, even if you do understand, even if you do kind of empathize with like cruel people. And I realized that, I even considered writing her name. She gave me her name. I considered writing it on a piece of paper and putting it in the freezer just to put like a freeze spell and be like, just stop her energy. And then I was like, I don't want to do spells on people. That's not what I'm paid to do. Like, I just want to. Then I kept trying to think of like, well, I'm sure she's not going to have it easy in life if that's how she shows up. And maybe she'll learn one day, like, I don't know. I mean, so and I even tried to be a little more stern to see if building rapport with her would, but nothing was going to resolve that. I felt bad for my supervisor, even though he's not my fave. I felt bad for him that he had to deal with that. So yeah, it was about the pains and connections this week with the 3, and the rain, and the storm, and the Scorpio new moon. Sort of reflecting on past betrayal, heartbreak, and experiencing a lot of people coming in who were feeling that, who were feeling pains of that, talking to them. And the week didn't start out bad. I thought, okay, well, it's raining. So what? I can deal with that. It did get pretty bad, and I'm really looking forward to getting out of this energy. But now I do feel like I have a deeper connection and understanding of the pain of the 3 of Swords, and really feeling those swords going in. I really felt that. That was rough, but I got through it, and building that immunity, right? As we bring that into, because I could never imagine doing that. I could never imagine calling customer service and just being irate and just screaming at somebody. That's not something I would ever do. I can imagine being a little angry or a little irritated, but I might say I'm feeling irritated by this situation. I probably wouldn't try to inject that into somebody. But realizing then that that's probably a shadow quality for me then. So that's why we're working with the cards, right? To integrate the shadow. So in that sense, I stopped disowning and fragmenting that part. And I sort of acknowledge it, bring it into the light, and say, yep, I can see, like, I was definitely tempted to go there this week with some people. I didn't, but I can see why you might want to do that, and I can own that part of me, which gives me immunity to it outside of me, right? More immunity, which is why we were going through this process of self-realization through the archetypes of the tarot. I hope that continues to make sense. I know sometimes it's like, why torture yourself? Why are you putting yourself through this? You know, are you masochistic? And it's no, it's about, you know, experiencing all the colors of life intentionally and holding them in the light for integration, for that spiritual immunity, even the negative. And it was really, really rough. But I'm really happy we're moving out of it. So that was my week with the Three of Swords. Comment below with your experience. I'm hoping I took the brunt of it this week, and your experiences weren't as harsh. Hopefully you're just like kind of thinking about past hurts and things and sort of processing them out, something like that. Let me know. I also realized that in my fatigue and adjusting to this new schedule and my energy feeling pulled and my attention pulled in so many ways, I'm not responding to comments as quickly on the videos and things. And I do intend to do that. So yeah, I want to make sure I'm getting it all done and I'm not neglecting anything. But in my Business Alchemy Masters program, we did talk about, I think we had that on Monday, if I'm not mistaken. We did talk about things happening, your vortex bringing things in, such as you not having the time or energy to do certain things, and then later realizing, right, or running out of the resource, running out of money, and not realizing that it's sort of just your vortex showing you don't need to invest in that anymore, or, you know, that's a waste of your time. You don't need to do that anymore. So I'm thinking that's what's happening here. I'm sort of working things out, but not to say that answering comments isn't important, because I know that it is. So that's not the thing I'm meant to weed out, but I'm thinking it's something else. So I'm figuring out what that is. All right. And I'll keep you posted on that. Let's move into the Four of Swords. So looking at the Four of Swords, this is a much different energy. In a practice called incubation, ancient mystics would lie lifeless, imitating the state of death, sometimes for days, in order to enter a deep trance. Although this card depicts a knight's tomb, it is a card of meditation, the process by which thought enters the physical world. 4 is the number of physical manifestation, and this is the suit of thought. These 3 swords with the points down in the negative position are hung on the wall, signifying that negativity is put aside. On the window, a man kneels, praying to the Madonna or another saint. The knight carved on the sarcophagus lid is also praying. The lid is open, not sealed. This is a place where temporarily we can be dead to the world. So temporally, we can be dead to the world. A place of rest, prayer, and meditation. So yeah, that's a much better vibe for this week. Looking forward to that. As I said, I'm traveling to Vegas. I'll still be working, but it'll feel maybe more restful. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. And what might it mean if this showed up in divination? If this showed up in a spread? Choosing to retreat, not dead, but wounded and recouping from battle. We will be recouping, or at least I will be. Withdrawing from battle, healing, renewing, going within to heal themselves, recovery, meditation. The effigy of a knight in the attitude of prayer, at full length upon his tomb. Vigilance, retreat, solitude, hermit's repose, exile, tomb, and coffin. And Alice B. Grist's intuitive meaning: rest, relaxation, recuperation. Reignite your tired soul by taking some time out. We need not always be on the edge of doing. Sometimes the best thing to do is to do nothing. To consciously and purposefully stop, close the door, put down the book, sleep, which is really interesting. I am, the next 2 days are my days off, traveling to visit my brother. So, and then let's go to the Biddy Tarot and see what Bridget has to say. Rest, relaxation, meditation, contemplation, recuperation. The Four of Swords tells you to rest before you take on the next challenge. You have reached an important first milestone and must recharge your energy before the next phase begins, so you are refreshed and ready to go. Even if you are highly productive and driven, take time out from your busy schedule to restore your energy and heal the body and the mind. Constant stress and tension will break even the hardest and most resilient of people, but brief periods of rest enable you to refresh your energy, concentration, and focus so that you are ready for the next challenge. If you have been going through tough times recently, such as the trauma of a breakup or departure, relationship or family problems, financial and health worries, stress or conflict, then the Four of Swords comes as a sign to take a step back and regain perspective. Take a day off work, travel to a new destination, or spend time with your loved ones. Whatever you need to take a break, now is not the time to make decisions. In fact, the Four of Swords presents a new challenge: to stay silent and inactive. Now is the time to build up your mental strength by clearing your mind of any mental clutter or stress. Meditate and spend time in a place that creates peace, calm, and tranquility for you. Go on a retreat or start a meditation course. You need to replenish your strength and spend time connecting with your higher self. The Four of Swords suggests the need for seclusion. You need solitude to negotiate your situation and time apart from others to gather your thoughts and feelings. Following on from the painful loss of the Three of Swords, this four suggests your need to spend time alone to reevaluate your life. Solitude, although often difficult to bear, is necessary for you to recharge your batteries and rejuvenate your spirit. This solitary experience always bears fruit in greater inner strength and confidence. Retreat from pain, conflict, and distractions, and rid yourself of stress and anxiety. Ground and recharge yourself. Look inward for a real change and meditate daily. In a practical sense, the Four of Swords is an indicator that you need to take some time to review your progress so far. This is an excellent time to reassess your priorities. It is almost like conducting your own post-implementation review, following a major milestone or a significant challenge. Create time and space to evaluate what has worked well, what has not, and what you need to change. Pausing to reflect after each major challenge will position you well for success in the future. Beautiful. Interesting, because I noticed a lot of people, I'm trying to turn this off. A lot of people were saying on the calls, a lot of customers, mostly female, were saying, make sure you take days of rest, which was funny. Like, they just wanted to make sure I was resting enough. I don't think I sounded tired on those specific calls. So it was just interesting that I got those messages, although I'm sure I sounded tired on some of them. So you know what time it is. It's time to play the singing bowl to integrate further that Three of Swords. Let's build some immunity around that by integrating. It's great that we brought it to the surface, brought it to the light, experienced it to understand more deeply. I'm so ready to move on. I'm exhausted. And, I just cried more than I think I have in so long. It was just like, I was tired from transitioning into a new schedule. Compassion fatigue is real. Not only do my friends need my compassion and attention, but now all these strangers. And it was just hard to shake and renew after each person. So I'm doing my best, and that'll be good exercise, I guess. And now moving into, so let's integrate with the sound, that Three of Swords experience, and call in and intend to have a deeper understanding of the Four of Swords, what we just learned about that, having those experiences for our awareness, to own that part of us, and to continue on this alchemical process of manifestation through the cards and build spiritual immunity. All right, you might want to close your eyes and get in touch with your breath. Beautiful. Coming back to the room. All right, so thank you for liking the video and subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate that. Letting me know you're on the journey with me. I'm looking forward to getting out of this suit, or getting out of the that card experience and coming into the Four. I'm really gonna look forward to that. Feeling a little more restful, maybe. And thanks for letting me know in the comments your experience with the cards. What did you go through this week? Are you with me on the journey? I really appreciate those check-ins, and I will get back to your comments more efficiently. That I intend that for this week. I just it was a really draining week for me, but I'm going to do that. And if you want to find me on other social media platforms, reach out for a session, anything like that. Everything will be linked in the description. All right, have a beautiful week, restful week with the Four of Swords. I will see you in the next one. Bye, Empath.